Welcome to the third episode of the Zebra Crossing. Today, our guest is Astha Jain. She is a solution architect at UBS Bank. She specializes in developing and designing software. And today, we'll deep dive with her into the cloud technology. Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good too. So my first question for you is, can you tell us a bit about your background and just really how you got into the tech industry?
Sure. So what happened, I was very passionate about mathematics. Like I really love mathematics, and that's how in my plus 2, which is 10th, after 10th, I chose mathematics as my mainstream with science. And that's how I landed up in engineering because I really love numbers. So I did my computer engineering back in India, and then I joined the technology world, the tech industry. So I worked there in India around 6 years, then I moved to Singapore in 2018, and today I'm here with you.
Oh wow. So math, huh? Okay. What is cloud computing and what are its benefits in the tech world?
Yeah. So cloud computing is basically to get things on demand from over the internet, like servers, databases, network, even some software services. What benefits it can bring is, previously in the older times, people used to set up their hardware into their own offices. Then gradually we moved towards setting up VMs, but still in our own offices, in our on-prem network we used to call. But it was super expensive because for every solution we need to run, we have to first set up the infrastructure and then we need people to support that infrastructure, to upgrade it, to do the patching with the latest version. With the cloud computing, cloud providers have made this job very easy for us. So they are setting all the infrastructure which is required to run the application, and we as technology companies can just borrow it from there wherever we want, and then just deploy our solutions on top of it. So we actually kind of hiding the entire layer underneath. Now how it benefits, it gives you scalability. So let's say your software solution requires a lot of memory to run, but it only needs a lot of memory, let's say only on Mondays because the business is just opening.
Okay.
So you don't really need to worry about the scalability. It will be cloud provider who will scale up the solution when and wherever required, and then scale down if there is no more requirement. So second one is pay per use. So rather than setting up my own machine in my own office, because then I have to pay it upfront, what I can do with cloud computing, I can just pay for what I have used. So let's say for a given service, let's say it only runs twice in a month. So I just need to pay for those 2 days. I don't really need to pay for the extra 28 days.
Okay.
Which is in comparison to an on-prem, I have to literally pay for the entire 30 days because I have already upfront paid the cost. Yeah. And then the scalability, pay per use, and let's say the security which cloud providers are giving to us. So we don't have to really, we have to think still about our data security, but not from the scratch, because these guys are already providing us with the solution of encryption and data security, etc., which helps our industry to focus on more on the strategic solutioning rather than the infra side and the security side of things.
Yeah. So it's cheaper and environmentally friendly.
Yeah, okay, that's a very good point. Yes, we also need to think about our environments because we are increasing our carbon footprint day by day. So by using the solutions which are running on cloud, we can actually share the solution between multiple users or between multiple applications, and thus we reduce our carbon footprint. So that's a very important point. Thanks for highlighting.
What are some common misconceptions about cloud?
Okay, so misconception about cloud is, first of all, again, scalability. Though it's a positive side, but people still feel that if they run their solution on-prem, they have more control over it, and they can do more things on that on-prem solution rather than cloud. But cloud providers are working very hard to prove this misconception wrong, and the scalability which they bring is actually very good. Secondly, pay per use, the advantage which I told you in the starting, it is also a misconception. Not every solution is fit for cloud, which means that not every solution, if you put on cloud, will help you to save money. Some solutions when built on-prem actually can save you money. Okay, so you really need to decide. We can't just go blind that let's move 100% to cloud. That's not true. We need to decide based on our requirement whether cloud will help us to save cost or whether on-prem can still help us to save cost. So some solutions still can reside on-prem. Third misconception is about the data security. People feel that, okay, if I put my data on cloud, now it's exposed to everyone. But that's not the case. Cloud providers are bringing that security element into it. So based on your business demands, based on your data requirement and regulations requirement, a cloud provider will make sure that they create a tenant around it so that no one outside that tenant can access your data.
Okay.
So they are making sure that security is there for your data and your data is not just exposed like that. Yeah,
it's good to hear. Next, can you explain the various types of cloud services and how they cater to different business needs?
Yeah, so we have basically three types of cloud services. First is infrastructure as a service, which we commonly known as IaaS. Second is platform as a service, which we known as PaaS. And third one is software as a service, which we call as SaaS. So IaaS is basically when your infrastructure layer is hidden from you. That means you don't have to literally buy a hardware, install Linux or Windows onto it and then do all the patching work. So infrastructure as a service means this infrastructure is given to you as a service, and now you can start deploying your various softwares, various platform on top of that infrastructure. So for example, they call it as a virtual machine. So machine is running somewhere else, someone else is handling all the patching, all the OS related stuff for you, and you as a software developer, let's say, you just need to focus on what various softwares you need to run your applications. So you can just install those softwares and then you are good to go. Second one is platform as a service, which is we say as PaaS. In that case, what happens? Infrastructure, and then the second layer is platform. So they also install the platform for you to run. For example, if you are creating a web application and you need, let's say, a Tomcat server to run that. So that Tomcat server will be pre-installed into that service, and like for Azure, we have Azure App Services, which we call. So you can just choose what stack you need to run your application, and then as a software developer, you just need to think about the software which you are producing. All other infrastructure as well as platform is being taken care by the cloud provider. Similarly, like database as a service is also an example of PaaS, where the database hardware, the machine and the database software on top of it is given to us by cloud provider, let's say Postgre or Cosmos, and then you as a software developer just need to think about your tables, your data modeling, etc., things like that. And the third one is software as a service, which is SaaS. Software as a service means someone else has already created the software for you, and now you can just readily use that software whenever you need. So you don't have to take care about infrastructure, about platform, and even about the code of that software. Everything is owned by someone else and is deployed as a service on the cloud, and all the consumer can readily use that service. For example, Confluent Kafka. So we as a producer or consumer of the message, we just need to connect to Kafka as a service, and we can exchange messages between two applications. So all in this one, you as a software developer doesn't need to care about anything else. So this one is the one where the relation with the service is just as a consumer and not as a owner. So these are the three services we have.
So does this decrease your workload as a software developer?
Of course. So in the previous time, we used to, get order a machine for us, and then we have to really install RHEL servers. So we have infrastructure team who is doing that for us, who used to set up the RHEL, the Linux machines, and then every time whenever there's an upgrade or whenever there's a security vulnerable from Linux side, then we have to raise a request to get it patched. So it was like too much of a manual intervention, and also a lot of dependency on one team on another team. So with this, at least we have reduced that much. Now we don't have to really worry about all of this, and we can just focus on our design and development of the things which we are giving to business, because at the end of the day, business matters.
Yeah.
All other things, if can be taken care by someone else like a cloud provider, it can be really hidden from us.
Speaking of business and companies, can you share some companies that have successfully used cloud and have grown their business?
Yeah. So one of the companies our own. We are on the journey of moving things onto cloud. UBS is on that journey already, and we are seeing things moving into a positive direction. But having said that, let's talk about. I think one of the company which everyone uses today is Netflix, and Netflix is running on cloud. They are completely on cloud with Amazon Amazon Web Services. So they use AWS, and we can see how good the performance is. Like every weekend we are doing the binge watching on Netflix. So we see they never go down, and that's because of the scalability which the cloud provider Amazon is giving to them, with the so much of huge data volume and the streaming which they are doing. So Netflix is the best example we can see and look around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now diverting from the topic a little, you're a woman in tech, and I am also looking forward to go in the tech industry. So what insights would you give about women in tech?
Okay, that's a very that's a topic which is very close to my heart. Being a woman and being a core part of the committee which we have in UBS of Women in Technology. So why we need women in technology? Or the question is, people around me ask like, why we need women in technology? Why don't we have a men in technology? Okay, so all the diverse topics are very important for an organization to run. Women being a minority, though today the numbers are very good, we have around 35% of people in the workforce as women. We are growing in that direction, but still there is a difference between a man and a woman, which is not only the biological difference but even the emotional question difference. Okay, so that is why this community, this Women in Technology community, actually uplifts and helps women in technology world to deal with all the challenges which they can't go and maybe talk to a male colleague around it. Okay. So it really helps them. It gives them a close knit group where they feel secure, where they can talk about various things related to technology or related to the work environment, and then we as a committee can bring up these topics to the management and get their support. So diversity itself is a very important topic, and it's not about just the gender. It is not just about male or female. Even diversity about a region or physical disability, etc., etc. Everything is very important for an organization to run. Now, women in technology, we as a part of Women in Technology, we just don't talk about technology. Okay, we talk about physical development. We talk about how you can pitch for yourself. Being a woman, it's always, majority of us are very introvert, so we don't really know how to pitch for our own self. Okay, we don't do personal branding compared to what a man can do. For example, if there is a job application and if a man is applying to it, he might just see like, am I meeting 50 to 60% of this job applications criteria? Let me apply. Okay. They have that much of confidence with them. But women, maybe because being a perfectionist, we always live in this illusion of perfection. So we always see, out of these 100 matching criteria, am I meeting all 100 or at least all 90? Okay, so that's the perfection which we always aim to. It's good, but sometimes it also lags us behind. So the personal branding and not always looking out for perfection, but having the confidence in your own self, it's very important. And these kind of workshops we do in Women in Technology so that women can uplift on these grounds. Okay. So that's where I think this committee is very important, and people like you, the junior, the new generation, I think you are already much ahead of us in the terms of balancing this women and men kind of thing, but still I think this community will also help you and support you in your future growth.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights. That's all the questions I have for you today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me. It was really a wonderful conversation to have with you.
Thank you, and thank you for our listeners for tuning in today.
Thank you.